Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Just back from a walk. I hope you watched my last video because I know it's true. I know it's true. We are in that time now. We're in that time now. Guaranteed. It's already here. You can see it all around us. You can see it in every facet of life that there's something wrong. And the atheists know something's wrong. The governments know something's wrong. This is becoming so out of control. What was it? There's a heat wave in probably every continent right now. It was like 100 degrees here today. I live in Canada. It's been like this for a month. These are just normal occurrences. This isn't the usual thing that I'm talking about. This is different. And it's different based on what I learned about Apophis, but not only of that, but the Essenes. I'm going to read an article, but I want to talk about some stuff first. I do believe the Jubilee year 2025 indicates that, well, you'll hear. And I would trust the Essenes probably over anything else because of past knowledge of them being correct on other stuff. And they're in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I don't claim to know a lot about them, but I think I'll clear some of that up, definitely. I just heard, let's read this. If my screen somehow cuts off, I got to say this in all of them, go to my next one, because I'm not going to redo it. I heard Jamie Walden say this, and I had to look, test the spirits, look for yourself. And it's true. Listen to this. Those floods that happened were unlikely events. 1,000-year event, 1,000-year event, 1,000-year event, 1,000-year event. They keep saying it over and over and over. What do you think the governments know and think? So I'm testing the spirits on something he said. He's very good, by the way, Jamie Walden. Watch his latest one. I think it's today. Yeah, it's today. He made a new video. I'm still watching it. They're long and they're good. The United States is cutting off key weather data sharing. Key weather data sharing. Starting at the end of July 2025, the Department of Defense will cease sharing satellite data. There's a lot of smart people out there. I mean, that are innocent. Notably from the Defense Meteorological Satellite Program, NOAA, with NOAA and other agencies setting cybersecurity concerns. That's not the reason. That's not the reason, man. A 1-month delay was granted thanks to NASA's intervention, but the cutoff is now expected July 31st, 2025. I'm not going to read any further. The things that are happening are unexplainable because they're by God. I hope you have faith enough to understand that that's true. I said in a video, just got back from a long walk. I said in a video about a week ago that something very big is coming. It's the first time I've ever, I wouldn't call it prediction, it's more like these things are coming. But I have a feeling something very big is, and you can see the floods that happen. I said it after a flood happened, but then many came after that. There are storms so insane. Go look at the hailstorm in Calgary, Alberta. That was, I think, yesterday. Wow. These are happening all over the globe. All over the globe. You can't count them. You cannot count them. There's no way, because there are so many countries, so many cities, so many towns, so many fields, and storms happen in small places and big places, but there is crazy anomalies happening. How did the Texas, I don't know what the name of the river was, how did it, Guadalupe, how did it rise again 27 feet? And I heard from Jamie Walden that they can't account for why it rose so much. And he's just theorizing that God breaking up the deep. Yeah. Is anything too hard for the Lord? I just showed you a video the other week of a guy being cured reading Psalm 103 in real time. Scar tissue in his throat. There's nothing too hard for the Lord. This is very exciting stuff, what I'm going to say, and I said in my last video. That Apophis, whether you believe it or not, do you really think that they would tell us? They would tell us it's going to come close, right? They would tell us it's going to come close. Do you think they would really tell us? No. They're already lying to us in so many capacities. What about COVID and all of that? Of course. No recourse for people who were damaged. That was me. We live in an evil earth, man. We live in an evil place. You know, it was already evil, and it's been evil for a long time. But the United States of America is Babylon. They're evil. They spread their stuff all around the earth. Bases all over the earth. Do you know, and I never told you guys this, I had a vision. I was bedbound. This was like in 2010, 2011. I was given a ketamine infusion while I lay on my back for 2 hours in an operating room. It was the first time I actually had pain relief from my spinal condition. It's the most painful disorder on earth. I was pretty close to death in my body, if you saw me. I started to cry, and there was a pain physician with me, and she just said, just relax and let it. It was the first time I ever had a ketamine infusion. And it's a dissociative drug, you know, probably contraindicated in people with PTSD and dissociation, trauma. But it was my first time. I didn't know really anything about it. It can give you visions. I think the Native Americans use that. I was lying on the table, and remember, I had studied war, a lot about World War II, World War I, Vietnam War, and other wars. But I'd seen so many things on TV and documentaries and reading that, I don't know, I went into a vision, and it was the United States. And I saw the United States enveloping the whole world. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it is what happened when you look at it. I saw just such great evil, the United States of America. I saw it. I don't know how to explain it, but I saw it. They're more evil than you know. Just because you live in the land doesn't mean anything. The things that they do. Look at the evil. Look at the evil going on. There's you know, people at each other's throats. Just like Jesus said, ethnos. What's with this agenda of letting Islam in? The governments know what's going to happen. Don't ever be fooled by that. They know. Do you think they're so stupid that they're meeting in meeting rooms and saying, what's going on? Do you really think that? Let me pace here for a second. Such evil upon the earth. Just like in Luke 21. People's heart failing them for things that are coming upon the earth. Psalm 83. I think Psalm 83, although it could pertain to Israel, I think it's more like this. When COVID began, governments started to take control. This is, you know, we're living in the internet age. There's a lot of new things that people don't understand because we haven't had it long enough. I think the internet's a curse on this earth. I do. But for many reasons, they way outweigh the benefits. These as weapons. And so I remember to to watch anything of Parliament or of Congress, you had to go to a special channel, right? But now because of the internet, after COVID, they took control and they stuck their heads up. Why did the nations rage and plot a vain thing? Trump, Kamala Harris, Emmanuel Macron, Putin, Angela Merkel. The list goes on and on and on of these people going back and forth, back and forth. There's a whole laundry list of them. And it's just non-stop. The world, this is what it looks before a major war. This is what it looks like before a major war. People are disgusting. People are vile. Men don't even really look for women anymore. The birth rate. Look at it, man. Look, Europe's about to... Look at France. You don't even recognize their place. People are so weak they can't even stand up. Listen, if people were starting to take over stuff in my country, even with all my pain, I would go to demonstrations. I absolutely would. And I know it is happening here. And I know I don't know what the agenda is. I don't care. What I know is that God's going to destroy it. He's going to destroy it. He's going to destroy all the evil people, all the evil plans. I saw, although it was interesting to look at, Jeff Bezos, his $450 million cruise ship yacht, while there's people starving. Elon Musk with $400 billion, of which 5 of those could feed all of Africa for a year. These people are insane in their mind. They're in a tug of war for power. There's a narcissistic, we're in a narcissistic state. No one is humble anymore. Like Paul said, people are lovers of themselves. They only think about money and that and sex. Their infidelity, all of those things. They're all present. They're all present. I believe that Apophis is going to hit the earth on April 29th, Good Friday. Friday the 13th of all days. They gave it the number 99942, but it's really 666, of course, because this is what they do. They know what's coming. And then this is why they're making underground stuff. I bet. And you heard that person who knows a lot, I don't know their name, that they were on the Tucker Carlson, who said all the money missing in the Congress, $21 trillion, if this is true, but it sounds right, is really them building underground cities. This is what Jamie Walden says too. But I already came to this conclusion. I listened to the whole thing, not Jamie Walden, but the actual interview. And this woman spends her life doing this, trying to follow tax receipts and figure out how's this money just missing. The leaders of this earth are conspiring. You understand that, right? And I'm telling you, Donald Trump is the Antichrist. But that's up to you to believe where we are. Test the spirits. Test those spirits. If we're so far in, of course the Antichrist is here. The church is dead, man. The church is dead. There are more bad churches than good churches. And the message people spread in some, thus saith the Lord told me, God said, damn those people, man. I mean, if you have good intentions and you don't mean like you mean in your spirit, sorry. That's just the way I feel about people who presume to know what God said, just like in Jeremiah 23. So, I can't wait to get this stuff out. I see it coming, man. I see it a mile away. Islam. Like these countries, France, Britain's gone, man. Unless they do something right now, they're gone. How is it that the whole population isn't standing up when they see it just disappearing? But God's words are true, and this is probably punishment for something. So let's read this. This is very interesting. I tell you, this is very interesting. I became interested in the Essenes once I heard Tom Horn. And about Tom Horn, just because I saw him on Supernatural, he was on many other places. I trust Tom Horn. Tom Horn, I had looked it up myself after making this video to make sure. He accurately predicted that the Pope would step down, Benedict. And no Pope had done that in 600 years. Crazy. So yeah, I do believe him. Not just because I want to believe him, but because of the evidence surrounding us. We shall know the times. The Qumran Essenes. These people deserve honor, man. End of the age and other fun facts. I will share this article. Notice how my voice is stronger at this time. It's because of, I don't know, endorphins, but I think it's probably medication, but taking out the spasms in my voice. My voice used to be really deep, before all this happened. I don't mean really deep, but it was deep. So you're not going to want to miss some stuff in this. On my first trip to Israel in the spring of 2015, our tour didn't have a plan to stop at Qumran, the archaeological park and excavation site of the Essenes, and the location where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. So they're, as Tom Horn said, they're still looking at the prophecies today, that they have not gone through all of them. I remember looking longingly out the bus window. Next to me was my dearest friend Robin, watching what must have been a cave of some kind at Qumran disappear in the distance. I could imagine the enigmatic Essenes shuffling up the horribly steep and precarious trails, shouldering scrolls that scholars would, there's a good explanation in this, don't worry, that would later proclaim to be the most important biblical archaeological find in history. Robin looked at me, and together we kind of smiled and said, well, another time. That another time was in 2018 and again in 2022. My husband and I scampered around the park in trails of what is, for me, the most mysterious area of Israel. Now, this is a blog and not a research paper, and I'm not claiming to, I just want to share this with you. And since most people don't want to read anything too long, except okay, let's just move on here. I will try to be very succinct. See the footnotes for further information and credits. In the last blog I wrote about Hanukkah and how it relates to the Essenes who lived in Qumran. Dr. Ken Johnson, a noted Dead Sea Scroll on Prophecy Watchers in May of 2024, that when the Jews returned to the land of Israel with Ezra, pay attention, because if you know your prophecies and stuff, you're going to want to know this. When the Jews returned to the land with Ezra, right after Babylon, they had the same general beliefs and messianic ideas that we do as believers in Jesus. In the 2nd century before Christ, after the Maccabean revolt, wow, what a revolt, man. Jewish sects, this is very important to your biblical knowledge. Jewish sects developed, mainly divided by their, it says approval, but I don't know if they mean disapproval, of the permeating Greek culture and its infiltration into the temple system. Very important. The three main sects were the Pharisees, Sadducees, and Essenes. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the Essenes were one. I just thought it was the Pharisees and Sadducees. I'd certainly heard about these guys. The problem in Jerusalem escalated to such a degree that the Essenes, considered to be faithful priests in the order of Zadok. If there's something in the Old Testament, God is honoring the priests of Zadok, something I remember, I have to look that up after, who held to very strict beliefs and were against the Hellenization of their culture, fled Egypt. When Rome began to rule over the area of Israel, the Essenes saw the fulfillment of the prophecy in Daniel and made their way back to Israel. As Dr. Johnson states, they were supposed to return to Israel and prepare the way of the Messiah. Judaism is the same as Christianity. It has the same doctrine, and when they don't, it's because of a cult rose up. Is this why Jesus came when he did? Right? You followed the letter of the law. It's because a cult rose up, the Sadducees and the Pharisees. They were corrupt and kind of took over everything. Does that match what's happening now? A major problem for the Essenes was the switch from the solar to lunar calendar, a capitulation the Pharisees and Sadducees agreed to at the request of the Greek rulers. Turned out to be a pivotal issue in Jewish history. The Jewish people were given specific dates by God to do religious memorials and sacrifices. So when the calendar system was changed by Antiochus Epiphanes and agreed to by the Pharisees and Sadducees, instead of the dates being fixed appointments as God required, they floated through weeks and months. Just as Christmas is always on December 25th, but the day of the week changes yearly. Because of this corruption, the Essenes were fit to be tied and left Jerusalem, where some eventually settled in Qumran. Ancient historians like Josephus document the Essenes were prophets who rarely, if ever, failed in their predictions. That's important for what I'm going to say and what I've been saying. Indeed, from the excavations and examinations of the writings in some of the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were spot on, especially in their calendar system and predictions about when the Messiah would come to earth, die for our sins, and resurrect from the dead. So here's a group of very religious and sincere Jewish priests, maintaining ritual purity in the desert, awaiting the coming of the Messiah and announcing his arrival in the desert. Sound like anyone you know? Was John the Baptist an Essene? Some scholars believe there's good evidence that he was. Aside from preserving the oldest biblical documents, the Qumran Essenes have an interesting calendar system through which they identified the Messiah, beginning at creation and ending after the millennial reign of Jesus. They have time and ages broken into various intervals. I've seen them. I haven't studied it though. It's pretty involved, so I'll stick to the simplest time frames, paraphrased from a wonderful outline in Thomas Horn. Oh, man, I should read one of those books. Thomas Horn's book Zeitgeist, 2025. All history consists of 7,000 years. We know this probably to be true, right? I believe it. A millennium is 1,000 years, a jubilee is 50, and 7 years is called Shemitah. Pay attention. Listen to this. The following deserves a direct quote from the book, from Tom Horn. An interesting document called the 11Q Melchizedek, found among the Dead Sea Scrolls in Qumran caves, is believed to have been written about 100 years before the birth of Jesus at the latest. It accurately predicts the arrival and death of the coming of the Messiah right down to the exact year, and uses the Essene calendar and understanding of the ages of human history to explain it. Let me pace and take a sip. Long walk I went on. It's coming, guys. Something very powerful is coming. Something very powerful is coming. You know, this is different. This is different. What is next? What is next? Why do the Essenes or calendar system and prophecies matter to us today? If Jesus died, this is what I've been saying in the other one. If Jesus died in 32 AD, remember how accurate these guys are, then according to the Essenes' writings in the Dead Sea Scrolls, this was accurately predicted. Horn, it's Thomas Horn, page 270. They also prophesied that the last Jubilee year, 50 years before the change of the ages, would be from AD 25 to 75. So that's 50 years. What is that 50 years for then? If he's, you know? Jesus came, died, and resurrected. The temple was destroyed, also the temple in Egypt. before the end of the Jubilee in AD 75. What's interesting for us is that our Messiah completed his ministry. Listen to this. Listen to this. Write this down. Do it. What is interesting for us is that the Messiah completed his ministry. He died and rose in the first 7 years. The Shemitah of the last Jubilee of that age. 7 years? Sound familiar? Man, just the more I look into this, the Essenes predicted that the last Jubilee before the millennial reign of the Messiah begins in 2025 and ends in 2075. This could mean, could. Chew the could. This could mean that if events follow the same pattern, not date setting, just speculation based on, like I said, I want to share this with you, on historical prophetic patterns, Jesus could, many people are going with the Essenes. I've heard them. I just heard Jamie Walden say, the Essenes 2025. Go watch Jamie Walden's video today. Jesus could, he's very good with his information and memory recall. Jesus could, maybe just speculating, come for the church, the tribulation begin and end. All I know is he's 3.5 years in. I wish, whatever. I don't like those debates and stuff like that. I just hope that he comes and saves us from the hell. I just can't see him letting us suffer. There's going to be a big earthquake in Seal 6. That's who can stand. The wrath has begun, and who can stand? And all the people who are hiding under the rocks and in the caves of the earth. Whatever may be ready. So not date setting, just speculation based on historical prophetic patterns. Jesus could, maybe just speculating, come for the church, the tribulation begin and end, all within those first 7 years of this coming Jubilee. There's such strong evidence toward this, guys. This isn't like anything in the past. This isn't like anything in the past because of the things that are around us. These are solid things. This makes sense to me considering it will take a while to clean up the earth after the tribulation. This is Thomas Horn. Get the word out to all the nations that there's a new sheriff in town, not Donald Trump. Organize the glorified saints into their ruling positions and have everything set and ready for Jesus' millennial reign by 2075. Some say that the Essenes disappeared mysteriously with no real explanation of what happened to them. Others believe, I believe this is probably the case, that when the Essenes found out that Jesus had come and fulfilled all the messianic prophecies with his first coming, they became followers, and left Qumran to spread the gospel. That's what Tom Horn thinks. These holy, sincere, and courageous people should be acknowledged with great honor for their copious writing and preservation, for which we are the beneficiaries. Only time will tell if the Essene calendar is accurate. Man, you see, the earth is changing. It's shifting. It's doing things that doesn't even understand itself. Mother Nature doesn't understand itself. Only time will tell if the Essene calendar is accurate for the coming age, but we can know for sure that the Word of God alone is perfectly accurate, and all that is prophesied in its pages will come to pass. Qumran is one of my favorite places in all of Israel. I can sense the Lord's presence in the lonely canyons and windy slopes. In my mind's eye, I imagine a lone figure making his way from Qumran to the Jordan River. His hands are raised in the air, his clear voice praying and prophesying to the land of Israel and the ends of the earth. Prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain brought low. and hill brought low. The crooked places shall be made straight, and the rough places smooth. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Isaiah 43-5. Guys, I was really excited to tell you this, and this is all I can say. But I forgot to hit record. No. I'll interact with you without my glasses. Also, in this aside, no coarse jesting. It's coming. There's something. What's going to happen next is what I have in my mind. You know, man, I'm stuck in 2 schools at once, and I can tell you, like, I can't do my work without the Lord on my mind. And you know, time passes pretty quickly for me, and maybe it is for you these days. I just have to look down at my ticker on the bottom left and something else. Places are drying up because of the heat. The most awesome storms you've ever seen are occurring. And I'll tell you something, I'm surprised they're not worse. This is a worldwide phenomenon, and it's not covered in the news. And now they're going to take away the data. And are they doing that because they know it's the Lord? And here, this would be a good conclusion. Things are getting so bad in some places, and the rulers of this world understand what is happening. You don't think they've read the book of Revelation? Of course they have. They know it's coming. This is why they quote verses to us sometimes. That's why they leave things like 9/11. 9/11. 9/11. They had a king over them, the bottomless pit, and his name was Donald Trump. But they will not give glory to God because consciences are so seared. Look at the people who are ruling over us, man. It's like in the Old Testament, you know. I'll make, you know, women rulers over you and children, and I'll take this away and I'll take that away. That is what's happening. We're in a curse. We're in a curse, but those who believe in the one and only true God are protected.